he became like a mentor to you, right, Jackie Chan, in some capacity?
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's one of those guys where he's one of the hardest workers I've ever seen or experienced.
Yeah.
And so for early days, to be able to witness that type of work ethic, I think that cemented something in me. I'm a hard worker already.
Yeah.
But at that time, I saw him and went, oh, it takes 1,000%. Not 100%, not 200%.
Yeah.
Everything you have.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it was interesting. I worked with him, and then when I got to the U.S., my first film was Mission Impossible, and when I worked with Tom Cruise,
Come on, y'all. Come on.
same work ethic, same, well, I won't say, level of success, they're different in the industry, but meaning very successful people, I got to see very early on what that took.
Wow.
And it was
it's so
everything.
funny. I was at this Karate Kid red carpet recently, and I saw Jackie
Just did
Chan.
another one, right?
I saw Jackie Chan on the red carpet. He's
Who's
in
the
it.
Karate Kid?
I'm blanking on the kid's name, but he's good. He's
Okay.
really good. He's like a
Okay.
young, I think Chinese actor. But I saw Jackie and I froze. I couldn't speak because I was just so in awe. And I'm so curious, like from someone like him,
Yeah.
I always say it's like these things that happen in between the lines of the magic. What did you observe, if anything, that you still kind of kept with you in your career in between the lines that he might have done?
Ooh,
that he does?
well, interesting, because I think that when you work for him, it's different, right? Because he's this very charismatic, very, he's awesome, he's very fun. But if you work for him, he expects a certain standard from you, right? Because he worked so hard to get where he is, so he's not giving you a free ride, or, he's not carrying you through. So I remember we were on set one time. I did a cameo in a movie called Around the World in 80 Days that Jackie had done with Disney. And they were shooting in Thailand, one of the locations. And I went there to do this little cameo for him for fun. And we walked through set, and he like smacks me on the shoulder, and I was like, ow! And he goes, did you just walk past that? I go, walk past what? And I didn't even look, and there was a water bottle on the ground. And he's like, you don't walk past trash, Maggie, you pick it up.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, sorry. Get that? Yeah, I mean,
That's
it was very
incredible.
like, he was the boss.
Yeah,
And he
yeah.
taught us to have a ton of integrity, and not just to work hard, but also to treat people extremely well, and also take responsibility, not just for the things that you're responsible for, but take responsibility for the things that you see and are happening around you that you can help with. You don't need to be asked.
Yeah,
You don't need to be, right?
Yeah.
So
What's the greatest sort of career insight that you kind of even have to this day from working with Tom, from being a part of that franchise that, I mean, it's still in theaters right now, you know?
I'll tell you a funny story that I think I've only ever told one person. I had never been around that level of, I didn't know what a movie star was until that movie, right? Because then, it's our first day, we're in Rome, we're on the Tiber River, and there must be, at the very least, maybe 5,000 to 7,000 people that are just lining the river just to see a glimpse of him, just to, like, the top of his head, just something.
I would have been one of them.
I know, I mean, I was one of them, and I was in the boat with him. And I just remember thinking, my God, the power of like a movie star.
Yeah.
I'd never seen it. And we were in the boat, and we're doing takes, right? So we're going back and forth in this speedboat. And of course, Tom's driving it because he knows how to do everything, absolutely everything. Pilot planes, boats, this, that. And so we had a lull, and they were changing the camera or something. And then, he turns to me, and Tom, when I got the film, was promoting War of the Worlds. So he wasn't around during my audition, and he wanted to be. And so I auditioned for J.J. Abrams, and that's how I got it. And so we hadn't met until, so we hadn't had a lot of time together until we started filming. And so he says to me, so Mag, like, what other US films have you done? And I was like, he goes, I'm not familiar with, any of your US films. I'm like, you don't have any?
Wow.
I've never done a film in the US. And he goes, what? And I go, this is my first US film. He goes, this is your first US film? I go, yeah, it is. He goes, this like $150 million, this is your first film. So this is like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. And he just can't, he gets such a kick out of it. He can't believe it, right? So he turns to, he's like, Bing. So he calls Bing Rames over, and Bing turns around. He's like, yeah, what's up? And he goes, this is Maggie's first US movie. And Bing's like, no shit. and then Johnny Reese Myers is in the boat. Johnny, you gotta, this is Maggie's first US movie. And he's flipping out.
Yeah.
He's very animated and funny. And he goes, Maggie, I swear to God, if I didn't know that, I would think that you belonged here.
Wow.
And I don't know what happened in that moment.
Yeah.
And I looked at him and I said, I do belong here.
Wow.
And he looked at me and he goes, you're goddamn right you do.
Oof. Oh my God. Goosebumps. Goosebumps.